Aruch, Duach Birchas Hanehenen, and Seder Birchas Hanehenen. Obviously, it plays an important role, and especially if the Alter Rebbe repeated the same words over and over again, and it didn't change. So obviously, he held that that's the way it's supposed to be. That he wrote the same nusach 3 times. So right in the beginning of Seder Birchas Hanehenen, the Alter Rebbe writes, "Umedivri seifrim, v'drabanon, v'vorech l'fnei kol achila v'shtiya." To make a bracha before every eating and drinking. Now, why do you bring mic? Umedivri seifrim, v'vorech l'fnei kol achila v'shtiya, v'drabanon, to make a bracha before every eating and drinking. Now, the Rebbe writes that the Lashon in the beginning of Birchas Hanehenen, Sai in the Shulchan Aruch and Sai in the Seder, is very similar to the Lashon of the Rambam with a few differences. And over here there is a very big difference. The Rambam writes, "Umedivri seifim levorech al kol meichel tchila v'HaGaHaCh yahrtzeit." The words of the Rambam is that you have to make a bracha on every food first, and only afterwards have benefit from it. Again, the Lashon of the Alter Rebbe is "Medivri seifim levorech lefnei kol achila v'shtiya." Make a bracha before every eating and drinking. The Alter Rebbe is talking about the action. Before I do an action of eating, an action of drinking, I have to make a bracha. While the words in the Rambam is Levorech al kol meichel tchila. Make a bracha on every food first. It's not talking about the action, it's talking about the food. Make a bracha on every food first. And this Lashon that the Alter Rebbe writes, "Lefnei kol achila v'shtiya," is in the Shulchan Aruch and in the Luach. It's a Lashon that he repeats 3 times. "Lefnei kol achila v'shtiya." It's in the Kuf Samatzai, in the beginning of the Luach Birchas Hanehenen. And he changes from the Rambam's Lashon, "Levorech al kol meichel tchila." And the Rambam's Lashon, the Rambam's wording, "al kol meichel tchila," is more understood, because the halacha is that you have to make a bracha even on a pachas, on a kol shul, on 1 crumb. So a crumb is a meichel. Pachas mekazai is a meichel. If it's called a chila or not, appears that it's not called a chila. That's why there's the whole machlokes in the Gemara in Yuma, whether if somebody eats chatzi shir, he eats less than a kazayis, whether it's asur min ha-Torah or it's mutter min ha-Torah. According to Rish Lakish, it's totally mutter min ha-Torah, and according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's asur min ha-Torah, because less than a kazayis is not the iser. It's not the Torah asur not to eat chazer, the Torah asur not to eat nevela, the Torah asur not to eat on Yom Kippur. And if you eat less than the shir, it's not considered eating. And when it comes to a bracha, you have to make a bracha even on a kol shul, like the Alter Rebbe passes in Kuf Samatzai. So the Lashon that levorech al kol meichel tchila is understood, because it's not a question of doing an action of eating. It's a question of every food that you're going to partake in, you have to make a bracha v'HaGaHaCh yahrtzeit, and only afterwards you can have the benefit. While the Alter Rebbe says levorech lefnei kol achila v'shtiya, to make a bracha before every act of eating. So to say, what are you going to say? That from the Alter Rebbe holds like a Rilyo Mizrahi, that the Mishnah Melech brings down in Hilchos Chametz Matzah, that he says that what it says, ein achila pchusa mekazayis, that there's no eating less than a kazayis, that's only regarding punishment. But even eating a kol shul is considered eating. It's considered an action of eating. That's what Rabbi Yom Mizrahi says. But you can't say that the Alter Rebbe holds like that, because the Alter Rebbe himself writes in Perek Ches, bracha achroina, in Perek Ches of Seder Birchas Hanehenen, it's also in the Shulchan Aruch, and just for brevity's sake, I'll just quote over here. Bracha achroina ben shel oichen ben shel mashkin tzichen shir. A bracha achroina of food and drink needs a set amount. She'em mevorchen esa elem kein ochel kashir haroi liyos nikra achila. You don't make a bracha achroina only if you eat an amount which is fit to be called eating. V'loi te'ima, and not just tasting. Or ishasa kashir haroi liyos shtia. Or you drink an amount which is fit to be called drinking. Ve'ein achila pchusa mekazayis. Ve'ein shtia pchusa mekazayis. There's no eating, an action of eating is not less than, if you eat less than a kazayis. Only if you eat a kazayis is it considered eating. And there's no drinking unless you drink unless you drink a revi'is. If you shayse mashke choriv, even if you drink mashke, it's not considered drinking unless you drink a revi'is. And anoy shti also chshuv ein bo kshir shti is called a mashke, shuv revi'is. So over here you have clearly that the Alter Rebbe in Perek Ches says that an action of eating is only if you eat a kazayis. An action of drinking is only if you drink a revi'is. And the Alter Rebbe himself says later, "V'kol zeh in halacha yud, kol zeh v'bracha achroina, al v'bracha rishoina ein tzarich shir achila shtiya, el afila tima kol shu asa lenes ma'olam hazav loy bracha." When it comes to a bracha rishoina, you don't need a chila, you don't need shtiya. So why does the L'chura, how does the Alter Rebbe write in halacha beis that midivrei seifim levorech lefnei kol achila v'shtiya, when I have to make a bracha not only an achila, I have to make a bracha also on te'ima. I have to make a bracha even if I don't eat an amount which is called achila. What is called achila? Only kazayis. Even if I drink an amount which is not called shtiya, because what is called shtiya? Only if I drink a revi'is.
Kol achila.
What?
Kol.
Right.
Kol achila.
Right. Very good. Therefore. Helps. Maybe. We'll see. So, therefore, why the Rambam's Lashon is better understood. Levorech lefnei Amidiv is even levorech al kol meichel tchila. HaGaHaCh yenem imenu. So what? The Alter Rebbe changes the Lashon. So that this Lashon is b'diuk, I'll give you 3 examples. There's many more. And that the Rambam l'shitose and the Alter Rebbe l'shitose. There is a machlekes in the Gemara in brachas. Pilplim yeveshim, dry pepper, which is a spice. Dry pepper, zangvil, which is used as a spice. So there's a machlekes of Rosheshes and Rove, whether you make a bracha on it, when you eat it as it is. Rosheshes says you make shahakol, and Rove says you don't make any bracha. And we pass like Rove that you don't make any bracha. So the Rambam writes in Hilchos Brachos, in Perek Ches, the reason why you don't make a bracha on Pilpul Yeveshim or Zangvil, she'ein oichel ela tavlin, because it's not considered a food; it's considered a tavlin. The Alter Rebbe in Perek Ches and also in Shulchan Aruch writes the reason why we don't make a bracha on Pilpul Yeveshim and Zangvil is because she'ein zu achila, because this is not considered achila shalanot. It's not considered an achila. So the Rambam goes with his definition, the Vorech I'll call Michael Tchila, and Pilplim Yeveshim, Zangvil is not considered an oichel, it's considered a tavlin, it's considered a spice, not an oichel. The Alter Rebbe says the reason why you don't make a bracha is she'ein zu achila, because when you eat it, it's not considered eating. One example. Another example is shemen zayis, olive oil. Olive oil, when it's pure olive oil, so it's mazik leguf, etc. So the Rambam says
It's what?
it's mazik, harms the body, and you don't have a noy from it. You don't, from pure olive oil, just drinking pure olive oil without bread or without anything else, you don't have a noy from it. So the Rambam paskins that you make an olive oil a shahakol when you drink it pure. Make a bracha pia, it's only if you mix it with something, you chayshish begar, and you need the olive oil to mix it with something, then you make bracha pia. But if you drink it pure, you make a shahakal. The Alter Rebbe passes, like the sheet of the Rosh and others, then and when you drink pure olive oil, you don't make any bracha. She'ein zu shtia, she'ein zu achila. It's not considered achila because you don't have hanor. Chaymetz, pure vinegar. Over there's not a clear Rambam, but there's a Rabbi Yaina. But if somebody drinks a little bit of vinegar on Yom Kippur, he's potter. Pure vinegar. That's not mixed with anything. He's potter. The more it says in Yuma, it's not considered drinking, that you're having a nut. So you're potter. Rabbi Yaina says that since if somebody drinks a lot of vinegar, it benefits him, whatever that means. I don't ask me. So therefore, even if you drink a koshu, oichelhu, and you make a bracha shahakal, even though it's like acidic and it burns you when you drink it down, etc., you make a shahakal because oichelhu, consider it food, because since when you drink a lot of vinegar on Yom Kippur, so it removes your thirst or whatever it is. You so oichelhu. That's what Rabbi Yaina says. Brought down in the Beis Yosef and Simon Reish Dalet. And the Bach is Medayik in the Rambam. The Bach and Simon Reish Beis is Medayik in the Rambam. That the Rambam holds like a Rabbi Yaina because the Rambam doesn't make any conditions by Chaymitz when you make a shahakal. He always says you make a shahakal on Chaymitz. And Chaymitz on pure vinegar you make a shahakal. The Alter Rebbe paskin that when you drink, and that's the sheet of the Rosh and the Beis Yosef, that if you drink pure vinegar, you don't make any bracha. There's ein zu achila, shtia. It's not considered achila shtia. So you see over here 3 examples where the Rambam goes with that Michael, as long as so now why is it a food? The definition of food is why the Rambam paskins by Shem and Zayis, if you make shahakal. So the Kesef Mishnah says, because for the person, by the fact that he's drinking it, obviously he does have some annoy from it. He has some pleasure from it. Because otherwise, why is he drinking it? In the Meiri, he says clearly, that's what the Kesef Mishnah says. And then basically the Rishonim are arguing in a Metzias. Do I have annoy from pure olive oil? Don't I have annoy from pure olive oil? The Meiri says that you clearly don't have annoy when you drink pure olive oil. There is no hanoi from pure olive oil, unless a person his throat is aching and he mixes it with something to soothe his throat. So then you have hanoi, but otherwise you don't have any hanoi. So, but still the Meiri brings a machloikes. He brings the sheet of the Rambam that you make shahakal on olive oil, and he brings that there is some that argue. So it comes out from the Meiri that you make shahakal even though you don't have any hanoi. So if you don't have any hanoi, why is the taka considered a Michael? The Meiri defines Michael, he says, in order for something to be considered a Michael, there's one of 2 conditions. Either the person has a noah, that's one thing, he has a noah of eating over here, or it's zon. It gives some benefit to the body. So therefore, in other words, so for the definition of Michael, I don't necessarily need hanoah. I don't necessarily need that it should be something that I have pleasure from. So as long as the body benefits.
Vitamins, by this definition, will be Michael.
What? Definitely. Definitely.
Okay. What did he ask?
There is this is an old thing that there are some so-called posting, which whatever so-called posting, that they want to say that on medicines that have a good taste, you don't make a bracha because the taste is coming from synthetic things. Therefore, it's not considered a food. It goes clearly against the Alter Rebbe. You can take a look in the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe says he saw that even if the medicine has no taste whatsoever, as long as it's not bitter, you would make a bracha. Shahakal, not according to as long as it's not bitter.
Is that because
And if it has a good taste. See,
That's because
there
of
is, in
medicinal?
other words, they want to say something which is synthetic is not considered a food, because it's not natural. And therefore you don't have to make a bracha. And since the whole reason why you make a bracha on medicine is because of the good taste, and this good taste is not a food, so therefore you don't have to make a bracha.
You wash it down with water.
If you learn down, no. That for sure is wrong. Because if you drink water not because you're thirsty, so you don't have to make a bracha on water. Because the taka has no nutritional value.
No, if you wash down a pill with water.
You're doing it for another reason. You don't have to make a bracha then.
Right, it's love derech achila.
What?
It's love derech achila.
Not because of lav derech achila, because on water you don't make a bracha unless you sheisel
No,
etzmoy.
the pill, you can wash it down with water.
The pill is because of itself you don't make a bracha.
Oh, okay, I thought you
No, because if it's bitter. If it's not bitter, you don't need the water. You just swallow it. If you make it go down, so then why isn't that derech achila? You're making it easier. What's the difference if I chew my bread or I swallow it with water? What's the difference? Who said that's not derech achila? You have to chew it. So the Alter Rebbe clearly paskins that as long as the pill, as the medicine, doesn't have a bitter taste, so you make a bracha on hanois refuah also. Like this, for hanois refuah itself, you don't make a bracha when it's not done in the way of achila. But if it's done in the way of achila, so the bracha goes on hanois refuah also. That's the Alter Rebbe says that clearly in the Shulchan Aruch. At any rate, and this whole yesod that you need something natural in order for it to be called a food is also false yesod. The Achiezer, there's a whole tshuva, they should know from that, at least that tshuva. The Achiezer, there's a whole tshuva that he said when you take synthetic stuff like they do nowadays and make a good meichel from it, you have to make a bracha, sha'ake. Because it's there, because there's an achila over there, there's eating over there. So you don't need something which is a natural food.
sodas, for example, are almost all
Okay,
synthetic?
fine. You have to make a bracha. Whatever. So, at any rate, we went off track over here. Sorry. So, in order for something to be, so in other words, the Meiri says what defines a food is if the body has a benefit from it. Even if I don't have any pleasure of eating from it, but if the body has a benefit, that's also food. So therefore, the Rambam that he says that the yesod of Birchas Hanehenen is I'll call Michael. So he holds that it says Shem and Zayis and in Chometz, the body has some kind of a benefit from it. It's zon. So therefore, you make a shahako. The Alter Rebbe says no, you need a noise Michael. Okay, if you want to go over there, pilpul, maybe it's totally there's a big machloikes achronim. Maybe you can go even to the Rishonim. The Chassam Sofer is the most extreme over here. The Chassam Sofer says that if somebody eats a mashu and he becomes full from this mashu, like going on a spaceship nowadays, you probably have such things. You can eat a little pill and the pill. So if you eat a mashu, he said you're mechuyev to bench v'natayr, even though you only ate a mashu, because the main thing is the savota. The Knesset HaGdolah, the Magen Avraham brings down that he says that even though it says in the Torah v'chalta v'savota v'achta, so but if let's say somebody ate shloi b'chdei achilas pras, a mashu, he ate every 10 minutes another bite until he became full. So it's not mitzdarif for all the achilas of the Torah. He says you have to bench because since you came to Svia, you have to bench. The Knesset HaGdolah says like that. The Panamihira says like that. The Beis Yosef and the Magen Avraham, the Alter Rebbe, they all pasken that no, you need besides Svia, you also need achila. You need a noise chayich also. You have to have achila, and therefore you have to eat b'chdei achilas pras, etc. in order to be mechuyev to bench min haTorah. That's it. So maybe if I say that the main thing is not a noise chayich, but a noise the stomach, so then the main thing is the meichel. if I need hanois chayich also, so then I need achila. But even if I say like that, it's still not going to answer the word that the Alter Rebbe says in Perek Ches clearly, that ve'ein achila pchusim ekazayis, ve'ein shtia pchusim revius. It's not called achila. And over here the Alter Rebbe says clearly in Perek Aleph that mevorach al kol meichel tchila. Al kol achila v'shtia, medivrei sefer, mevorach lifnei kol achila v'shtia, even though we paskin, you have to make a bracha even on a mashu. How do we answer that? So it could be like this. There's a halacha in the Rambam. In the Rambam there is another yesod, which also you can make it the Lishitose. The time is short. I'm going to. There is a machlekes. There's such a thing which is called matemes. Matemes is I'm tasting something. So the name of when I eat something, only to taste it, is matemes. That's the lashon in the Gemara. So now the Rambam paskins that when I eat something only to taste it, even if I swallow, as long as it's less than a kazayis or a revius, I don't make a bracha because I'm eating it to taste it. That's how the Rambam paskins. We paskin matemes is only if you spit it out. If you swallow, then you have to make a bracha even on a kosher. You can over here. You can also make the Alter Rebbe paskins like I can make another lishitose over here. So now the Rambam says, and the Kesef Mishnah explains this Rambam that even if you swallow it, that you don't have to make a bracha, because the Rambam says that there's a lashon of the Rambam in Halacha Beis, afilu niskaven lechel alishtes koshu mevorech v'achkach yena. You have to have kavonas achila. Afilu niskaven lechel alishtes. Now it's not only al kol mevorech al kol meichel, but you have to have kavonas achila. That you have to have in mind that you want to eat. You don't have in mind that you want to eat, you don't have to make a bracha. And therefore, since by matemes you don't have in mind to eat, all you have in mind is to taste, to see what the food tastes like. You're not interested in eating now. Your whole interest of even if you swallow it, you don't have to make a bracha. That's what the Kesef Mishnah says. So now there's the lashon over here in the Rambam. Afilu niskaven lechel alishtes kol shehu. So you mevorech v'achkach yena. So the question is that it's a steer, it's a contradiction in terminology over here. From one side, the Rambam is talking about a kosher, a crumb, and we say that when you eat a crumb, it's not considered achila. From the other side, the Rambam is saying, afilu niskaven lechol elishtes kosher, that there is a kavanas achila over here. My whole kavan over here, I only want the crumb. And if I say a crumb is not considered achila, because what's considered achila is only a kazayis, so when I want to only eat a crumb, I don't have kavanas achila. Yeah. I'm only eating a crumb. So what is muchach over here? That when I'm talking about achila, there's two types of things. There's the action, and there's the person that ate. That what we say that less than a kazayis, or less than a revius is not achila and shtia. Less than a kazai is not considered achila. Less than a revius is not considered shtia. That means it's not. Is this a person that ate? Since he ate less than a kazai, he didn't eat. Is this a person that drank? Since he drank less, he didn't drink it. It's, in simple words, it's not considered an achila chshuva mitzad the gavri that the person. But when I'm dealing about defining the action in itself. When I want to define the action in itself, is this an action like I ate something very bitter which is impossible to swallow? Is this like I ate in a way of intravenous, which is not considered a ma'isa achila at all? Or the ma'isa was a ma'isa achila, the action is an action of eating, but is it considered that the person ate? Was an achila chshuva, was an important act? That not. So it's not when like I eat shloi kederech achila. When I'm eating pochas mekazayis and I drink pochas menavias, it's not that I did something shloi kederech achila that took away and removed the shame, the name, the definition of achila totally from what I did. I didn't eat enough that it should be considered like the gavra ate. I didn't drink enough that it should be considered like the gavra drank. But the action in itself is a ma'isa achila. So, and that's clearly what the Rambam is saying over here. I feel niskaven lecheloi lishtes koshu. You want to eat or drink a crumb, so you have to make a bracha. So you have to have a kavonas achila and shtir. You want to eat and drink a crumb. So it comes out that there is an action of achila, although mitzad gavra it's not considered like he ate, like it's an achila chshuva. So here what Rabbi Zayin said right away, he chapped right away. Like this, when the Alter Rebbe says, "B'divrei seifim levorech lifnei kol achila v'shtia." Like this, we learn pshat, pashtus of the translation of these words. Levorech lifnei kol achila v'shtia. The meaning of that is, no matter what I eat, no matter what I drink. That's how we learn the pashtus. Anything that I'm going to eat or anything that I'm going to drink, I have to make a bracha. According to what we're saying, it could be the translation of lifnei kol achila v'shtia is not anything that I eat or anything that I drink, but any type of achila, any type of shtia. Whether it's an achila chshuva, which is considered achila like the gavra ate, or a shtia chshuva that the gavra drank, or even if it's such an achila and shtia that mitzad the gavra, it's not considered like this gavra ate, but since the maisa in itself is considered achila, so therefore you have to make a bracha. So what the Alter Rebbe is saying over there, because since I'm nana, so this is also mitzad. The action is an action of achila. The action is an action of shtia, although it's not considered like the gavra ate, because regarding what does it say all the shurim, the tak over here you could bring your Rabbi Mizrahi. Even though that the yesod of Rabbi Mizrahi is different. His yesod is that as far as shem achila mitzad the gavra, it's considered achila. That's why chatzi shir osman atayr. We say chatzi shir osman atayr, that's a different iser. It's not the iser of chazer. It's not the iser of chalef or whatever you ate. But it's and chil brachas mikazai is not considered achila. When it comes to isur, when it comes to ancient, it has to be that the gavra ate chazer. The gavra ate something prohibited, so that's why he gets a punishment. If he did a ma'isa achila, that's not what's relevant to the punishment. So I'll call it. So when we're talking about a bracha achrona, so we're talking about that the person, in order to obligate the person to give him this mitzvah similar to Birchas Hanehenen, so it has to be achila v'shtir. So that's what. So that we already brought the three Gemores, and there's more Gemores that the Alter Rebbe was medayik to write lifnei kol achila v'shtia, and that the main yesod is achila v'shtia, and the nafkamin l'aloch is like we already said that by Shemin Zayis you don't make a bracha, by Chometz you don't make a bracha, by Tavlin not because it's Tavlin, by Zangel you don't make a bracha because it's not considered achila v'shtia mitzad the mais. This brings us just to a point. What? Mat emes, the Alter Rebbe passes only if you spit out. Because if you swallow, even a kol shuv is considered achila. Even though that you didn't have kavonas achila. You don't eat kavonas achila. The mais has to be a mais achila. You don't go bust the kavona like the Rambam. The Rambam, there's a din of oichel and kavona. According to the Alter Rebbe, there's a din of achila, and achila, no matter how I eat, even if my intention was just to taste, if I swallow it, it's considered eating, and therefore I have to make a bracha according to the Alter Rebbe. This is how they go apart. This by Birchas Hanehenen, there's a whole tumult over there. Achalta v'savoto. Says by Birchas Hanehenen, you have to eat and you have to drink, and you have to become satisfied. Achalta v'savoto. Like mentioned already, there's a Poni Me'iris, there's a Mogen Avram. The Alter Rebbe passing, you have to eat, and you have to become satisfied through eating. And therefore you do. So now the Minchas Chinuch has it clear. Is it good enough if he ate one kazayis b'chtei achilas pras? So that you consider it achila, achalto. But the rest does not have to be b'chtei achilas pras. And the rest of the sphere can come even shloi b'chtei achilas pras. Because I have the v'chalta, because I ate one kazayit b'chtei achilas pras, and I have the savota from the rest. Or do I say the whole savota has to come through achila, and therefore everything I eat constantly, the sphere also has to come through eating b'chtei achilas pras. A kazayit b'chtei achilas pras, in order for it to be considered a chalta. V'chalta v'savota, it goes hand in hand. That the savata has to be from v'chalta. So the Birchas Hanehenen has a suffix about that. The Birchas Hanehenen says, and the same suffix I have, is if let's say somebody ate a kazayis b'chtei achilas pras, so that's considered achila, and the rest he ate shalei kederech achila, not in a normal way of eating. It was very hot; he had to swallow it down, and he burned himself as he swallowed it down. Or it was very bitter; that's impossible to eat, but he forced himself to eat it. Something which is considered shalei kederech achila, but it satisfied him. His stomach became full, no matter how he ate it. Just like as he has, and these two sfeikas he puts together, and remains with a tzorech chiyun. He's not sure. Is it two separate conditions, a chalta v'savot, or is it one condition? According to what we're talking about, to put these two sfeikas together is not correct. When I eat b'chtei achilas pras, a kazayis, so I have a chiluch shuva, v'chalta, what the Torah calls v'chalta, and the rest I eat shloi b'chtei achilas pras, it's still considered a pu'ula of achila. It's still an action of eating. So as long as I have achila chshuva and achila brings me to svia, I can hear a good svara that then I'll be mechuyev to bench, even though I didn't eat the rest with the achilas pras, because it's still eating. It's an action of eating. The svia came through an achalta. And I need achila chshuva. I have that also because I ate a kazai. But when I eat shalei kederech achila, so that's as if I became full through intravenous. Nobody will say that I come full through intravenous, that I'll have to bench, except maybe the panamir. I don't know. According to some sefer, you can maybe have a suffix over there. That the sphere is something, an entity in itself, and the chalta is just a I don't know how they learned the chalta. That's what the person speak about. It says chalta. So he puts the two together because according to Birchas Hanehenen, that he wants to compare shaloi kederech achila with eating shloi b'chtei achilas pras, with eating less than a kazayis, slowly, so it would come out according to him that according to the Panim Me'iris, it says the main thing is not achila, that you can eat everything shloi b'chtei achilas pras. You can start off just eating a crumb and eating a crumb later and eating a crumb later. As long as you come to svia, you're chayiv to bench min ha'Torah. So according to Birchas Hanehenen, even if I ate not shloi b'chtei achilas pras, even if I ate shloi kederech achila and I came to the svia, the Panim Me'iris, the Knesset HaGaDolah will say, Knesset HaGaDolah, before the Panim Me'iris, will hold that you have to bench, which is a pellet to say such a thing. Because if you say that, so then you're going to have to be mechadish that when I became full through intravenous, what's the difference? Shloi kederech achila or intravenous? There's no difference. The body became full. And if I'm benching because the body became full, which is a pellet to say such a thing. The pashtus, you're going to make a chiluk. That even when the Alter Rebbe says the main thing is levorich lefnei kol achila v'shtiya, there is a concept of achila, and obviously you have to say that even eating a crumb or shloi b'chtei achilas pras is considered. It's a because mitzad the ma'isa, it's a ma'isa achila. The action is the gabra didn't eat, but the action is an action of eating. Shloi kederech achila, the action is not an action of eating. It's just taking food. It's like intravenous. And for that there is definitely Chazal. We're not misakin. The Torah, the mitzvah of the Torah is not for that. All right, I got to go in there.
I remind everybody tonight at 7:30 is the Shloishim for the Mental Lukovsky upstairs.